Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I have to start a new chapter, right? Today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Unit 7. Genetics and evolution. Chapter 5. Principles and inheritance of variation. Evolution. Chapter 5, Principles and Inheritance of Variation. Chapter 6, Molecular Ways of Inheritance. And Chapter 7, Evolution. Now you see, first one, I have to start with the Principles and Inheritance of Variation. This is the chapter I have to go into study now. Now, before this, we need to go to certain terminology before going to the chapter. Basically, this chapter deals with the how the characteristics or traits are found to be inherited from one generation to the next generation. There are two terms, heredity and other is genetics. Hey, what is heredity? It refers to the inheritance of characters from one generation Okay. Hello. Good morning. Oh, আচ্ছা একটা মিনিট একটা দাদা Okay. Now, before Mendel also, there are some activities regarding this. But before going to the Mendel's work, why he didn't get recognized at that time, and when he got recognition for his work, everything I'll be discussing. But before that, we need to go to certain terminologies and also the monohybrid and dihybrid cross. After going through all this, then I'll be discussing why Mendel didn't get recognition. Then it will be easier for you to understand what the basic cause. Mendel's time before 1900, you know it, and gene discovered up in the year 1901 or two like this. And that's why actually there is no idea how characters are inherited from one generation to the next generation. Even the idea of blending was prevailing at that time. Idea of blending means mixing was predominant at that time, and Mendel said differently that from tall plants, some dwarf plants may be developed. This idea was not believed at that time because they had no idea how characters are inherited. That's why he didn't get recognition. I'll be discussing it later on. But after the discovery of Mendel works in the year 1900, and then in the meantime, already gene discovered. In the meantime, we know that how characters are inherited from one generation to the next generation. Then it will be easier for everyone to accept it. Yes, Mendel work is absolute. But before going through this, why Mendel didn't get recognition and how it got recognized later on, before that, we need to know the Mendel work. After knowing Mendel work, after studying Mendel work, if we study, then it is easier for us to understand this thing. And secondly, before going to the Mendel work, the how Mendel did his experiment, we need to go to certain terminologies which are most important for this chapter and also next chapters. So I have to start with these terminologies first. Can I wrap it out now? What are these terminologies? Suppose character, trait, locus. Then comes to the, suppose, alleles, homozygous, heterozygous, genotype, phenotype, dominant, recessive, gene pool, genome. That's the monohybrid cross. Hello. No call. No call. Mm-hmm. জয়েন্ট সাইজ বুঝি না কোন জয়েন্ট সাইজ ম্যাথের জয়েন্ট সাইজ বুঝি না কথা আপনার ম্যাথ ম্যাথ সেখন ম্যাথ জয়েন্ট মানে নিট দিব তো না হুম না না ম্যাথ লাগে না ম্যাথ থাক না বুঝে গিয়ে ও ম্যাথ জয়েন্টের ক্লাসটা করে সে করতে পারে সে ম্যাথও দিতে পারে জয়েন্ট হুম 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 হ্যাঁ একদম রাইট হ্যাঁ না কেন কি এফেক্ট হইব? দেখেন অ্যাকচুয়ালি ম্যাথটা সব সাবজেক্টটা আছে। আমি একটু পড়া কথা কই, কারণ আমার ক্লাস চলছে আর কি, ক্লাস মধ্যে কোন করছি 10টা কথা। Character, traits, locus, alleles, homozygous, heterozygous. Now I'm going to start with each one. First of all, you see the trait and character. Tell me, what is your idea about the trait and character? Anyone? Your idea about the trait and characters? Juhi. Juhi Majumdar, do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what do you mean by the trait? If you can give it an example also. What is mean by the word trait and what is mean by the word character? What is the basic difference between these two? Any idea? Any idea? No. Anyone else?
Sir,
Saptarshi, bolo.
sir, trait is anything that distinguishes a characteristic or quality from one person to another.
Can you give an example?
For example, sir,
Suppose in case of pea plant.
yeah,
In case of pea plant,
in case of pea plants, Mendel identified the pea plant characteristics upon compiling his results for many plants and dwarf plants and tall plants.
Yes.
Mendel concluded that the characteristics could be divided into expressed and latent traits,
No.
dominant and
Recessive.
like that. Yes, sir.
Okay. But basically, you do one thing. Okay. Look one thing. How can you differentiate these two? For example, I'm giving you a simple example. Suppose pea plant. Pisum sativum. And in these pea plants, you know, character, stem height. So it is expressed in two forms. These are the traits. Is it clear now? Similarly, seed color. It is a character. Yellow color seed. Green color seed. Trait. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I are going to write now, so what is character? A distinct morph. Can I rub this part? I'm rubbing it out. Okay? How about define character? What is this? Actually, it's a distinct. Morphological and physiological. Distinct morphological and physiological feature of an individual. Whenever you have to consider the trait, the expression. It is the expression of a character. There is stem height may be expressed as tall or dwarf. So stem height is the character, and tall and tallness and dwarfness are the traits. That is the example. Stem height of pea plant expressed as tallness and dwarfness. Look, is it clear to you now? What is trait and what is the character? Similarly, if you have a seed color is a character, it may be expressed as yellow and green. If pot color is a character, it may be expressed as green and yellow. If flower position is a character, then it is expressed as the terminal and exile. Are you getting me now? If seed
Yes,
shape
sir.
is a character, it can may be expressed as round and wrinkle. So round and wrinkle are the trait. Seed shape is the character. Okay. So this is what about the trait and character. Now I have to rub it out. Note it down.
Done.
Okay. After that, other category. Now after that, what I did it locus. You can call it gene locus also. Suppose it's a chromosome. Now, what is locus actually? Look at this. What is found? There is a fixed position of a gene on a chromosome. What is locus? The fixed position of any gene on a chromosome is said to be its locus. fixed position occupied by a gene on a chromosome. So this is the over gene or allele you can write. Gene or allele on a chromosome. You see, this is the point where T lies. T is an allele, capability is an allele. Always T occupies this position. You will never get it here. Suppose I am going to another example. Here you see, this is the fixed position of Y. And this is the fixed position of R. So this is the allele. Y allele occupies this position, R allele occupies this position. And this is the position is the gene locus for Y or R respectively. This is the gene locus of T. Clear? Before that, actually, you need to go through the other term called alleles. For alleles, alleles refers to two Mendelian factors located on homologous chromosomes and control the expression of a pair of contrasting traits. Then you can call it allele. Is it clear to you? When the term allele is used, two Mendelian factors located on homologous chromosomes and control the expression of a pair of contrasting traits. Then you can call it allele. That means T, all these are alleles. For example, regarding stem height, if I am going to draw it, capital T, small t, each one is an allele. It is an allele. Both capital T and T are alleles. Gene is one. So alleles are the different form of the same genes. Slightly different form of the same gene. Then the alleles, we get T and T actually is actually under one gene that controls stem height. So T and T are slightly different. That's why it's called slightly different form of same gene is the allele. So alleles are two Mendelian factors located on homologous chromosomes and control the expression of a pair of contrasting traits. So here also, so this is the allele here used here. T is an allele, everyone is an allele. Is it clear? The idea of allele is clear? What is allele is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now coming to the next. Can I wrap it out?
Sir, please wait.
Can I wrap it out now?
Sir, done.
Thank you. Then comes to the phenotype and genotype. Suppose tall pea plant. So it is phenotype. Tall pea plant is the phenotype. That means is the external appearance of a particular plant. But whenever it is written like this or like this, these are the genotype. So the term genotype is used with the genetic question of a whenever the term genotype is used, the genetic constitution of genetic complement of an individual then you can call it the genotype. Suppose it is for tallness, we can with regard to one or more character, with regard to one or more characters. But whenever the term phenotype is used, it to the external manifestation observable as it is visible observable external manifestation of morphological or physiological character. There it is the phenotype, observable. What do you observe it? It is tall. It is observed that the plant is tall. It is observed that the plant is dwarf. It is his phenotype. But whether it is pure tall or it is a hybrid tall, this is actually his genetic constituents. Are you getting me? The plant is a tall. Now, pea plant is tall. So it is the phenotype. The plant is pea plant is hybrid tall or hello. ও আচ্ছা, আপনি একটু পরে কথা বলবেন না, ক্লাসে আছে। আমি 10টা দেখবেন। Pre-plant is hybrid toll, or pre-plant is homozygous toll. Actually, so whether it is a hybrid toll or it is a homozygous toll, it everything is this genotype. It also is genotype. So when the term genotype is used, it should be its genetic constituents or genetic complement, which is not observable, which is not at all observable, and it cannot be known from appearance. Remember this thing, genotype cannot be known from appearance. Genotype cannot be known from appearance, but a phenotype can be known from appearance. And second most important thing regarding genotype is that phenotype can be affected by the environment. Genotype can be affected by the environment. Genotype can easily be affected by the environment, but phenotype cannot be affected by environment. So most important thing is it clear? Is it clear to this?
Yes, sir.
Genotype cannot be known from appearance. A phenotype can be known from appearance. Phenotype can be affected by the environment, but genotype cannot be affected by the environment. If individuals with different phenotypes, for example, can I wrap it out, please, to some extent? Okay.
So 1 minute.
Okay, now I'm not individuals with different phenotypes. Generally possess different genotypes. So tall plant, dwarf plant. Tall plant, tall pea plant. This is one phenotype. Dwarf pea plant. Other phenotype. So whether the genotype remains same, no. For tall pea plant, genotype may be the capital T or capital T small t, but for dwarf it should be small t small t. That means the individual with different phenotype generally possess different genotypes. But on the other hand, if you consider the genotypes, individuals with different genotypes individuals with different genotypes may have same phenotypes. For example, you see different genotypes, suppose capital T, capital T, capital T, small t. This is one genotype. This is the other genotype. Capital T is one genotype. Capital T small t is the other genotype. It indicates tall P plant. It indicates also a tall P plant. So individuals with different genotypes may have similar phenotypes. Is it clear to you? Is it clear?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, এখানে যে লেখেছো phenotype can be affected by the environment. The suppose tallness টা কিভাবে affect হয় environment দিয়ে?
Not can be হতে পারে, not all can be affected. In case of sometimes some characteristics due to environmental changes, sometimes some nature may be changed, some physical trait may be changed. You see, with the advancement of age, you see, as the environment that changes with the help of environment, sometimes in some parts are changed. Some leaves are found to be curled with the effect of environment. Some leaves are found to become small sometimes. Some leaves are twisted sometimes. Is it happening? Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
That's why it is said. Actually, phenotype cannot be same throughout life. Phenotype cannot be same throughout life. For example, I am telling you, one child in the infantile stage, then the child stage, then the boyhood, then the adult, then the old days. If you go through a person at different age, you will get almost different phenotypes, right?
Yes,
Are you
sir.
getting me?
Yes, sir.
But whether it is an infant, whether it is a young boy or the adolescent or the adult or can call it the old, every time phenotype remains same. A small seedling of the pea plant and a mature old pea plant, if it is a tall, whatever it is, its genotype remains same. But phenotype should not be same. Are you getting me? Some changes are taking place with the advancement of age in the phenotype. Okay, now can I rub it out?
Yes, sir.
Completed, everyone?
Yes, sir.
After genotype and phenotype, another most important term. Homozygous and heterozygous. That's a very common type. Individuals having similar Mendelian factors. Individual possessing two contrasting alleles. That means it possesses similar alleles. For example, capital T. Or you can write like this. In an individual pea plant, capital T, small t. So you see another one. Capital T, smooth. 3 cases. In both the cases, similar alleles. This is also similar alleles. But here individual possessing two contrasting alleles. So it is homozygous. It is homozygous. But it is heterozygous. So homozygous, as homozygous possesses the similar alleles. So remember this thing, in case of homozygous, the same type of gamete, only one type of gametes produced. Suppose if it is a homozygous, so only one type of gamete is produced in homozygous plant, but it is heterozygous. Two types of gametes are produced. Only one type of gametes is produced in homozygous, but two types of gametes are produced in case of heterozygous. They are the gametes. Because why? Because as they are with similar alleles, so obviously only one type of gamete will be produced. As they are with two different alleles, obviously two types of gametes will be produced. So in case of homozygous, when homozygous individual is going to produce gamete, only one type of gamete will be produced. Whenever heterozygous individual is going to produce gamete, two types of gametes will be produced. Is it clear to you? You can note it down. Whenever a homozygous individual, write down, whenever a homozygous individual is going to produce gametes, only one type of gamete will be produced. Only one type of gamete will be produced. Whenever, on the other hand, you can whenever a heterozygous individual is going to produce gamete, two types of gametes will be produced. Two types of gametes will be produced. So you need to remember this is the most important thing. All these things will be required. This is because actually the factors are found to be segregated. These factors which are present together in the heterozygous are found to be segregated at the time of gamete formation. Factors present aggregated together, present together in the in this plant like two different factors. Whenever in heterozygous individual, two different alleles are found to be present together. And these two alleles are found to be separated or segregated from each other at the time of gamete formation. And that's why two types of gametes are produced. Are you getting me? In a heterozygous individual, two contrasting alleles are present together, which are found to be segregated or separated from each other at the time of gamete formation. That's why whenever a heterozygous individual is going to produce gamete, two types of gametes will be found. Clear to you on? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this is all about the homozygous and heterozygous. Is it clear to you? Now to wrap it out.
So please wait.
Okay.
Are done.
After that, two alleles are used. One is dominant allele, other is the recessive allele, sometimes used as dominant factor. So whenever it is a dominant allele, it expresses this effect suppose cubitality, or cubitality is a dominant allele. Suppose is a dominant allele. So it can express its effect even in the presence of a recessive allele or look, clear? That means if it is even cubitality small t, the dominant allele T for, suppose T for tallness, T allele is for tallness. So whenever it is cubitality small t is not for tallness, although as they are present together, the plant would become tall. That means is a dominant allele is an allele which can express its effect even in the presence of its alternate allele. That means if alternate is small t, which is not meant for tallness, if it is also present with the dominant allele can express its effect. That means a dominant allele can be expressed or can occur in both homozygous and heterozygous condition. A dominant allele can express in both and look, a dominant can express both in homozygous and heterozygous condition. That means if it is capital T, homozygous, tall. Again, when it is small t, then also tall. But a recessive allele is clear now what is dominant allele?
Yes, sir.
But in case of a recessive allele, is unable to express its effects in the presence of its alternate allele. Look, that means our small t is a recessive allele. So if it is present with capital T, if small t is present along with capital T, then small t can't express its effect. So a recessive allele can express its effect only in homozygous condition. A recessive allele can express only in homozygous condition. A recessive allele can express its effect only in homozygous condition. For example, you see small t, and its phenotype is dwarf. Or small y, homozygous, phenotype is green. Small r, homozygous, it is wrinkled. Look at this. So a recessive allele, that means a recessive allele can express its effect only in homozygous condition. You can add homozygous condition, that is in the company of a similar allele. Can I rub it? This part. Can I rub this line? This three
Yes,
line?
sir.
Okay. Complete it. So a recessive allele can express its effect only in homozygous condition. That is when two recessive alleles, two similar, are present. For example, small t, small t, small y, small y, small r, small r, dwarf, green, wrinkled, seed. Look, this is recessive. Another most important thing you need to remember. Can I wrap this part to some extent? Okay, you complete it. Otherwise, complete it. Completed?
Completed, sir.
Okay. Can I wrap it out? So after dominant and recessive allele, a recessive allele is always a mutant allele. And a dominant allele is always a wild type allele. What does it mean? It means that suppose tall pea plant. Initially, this is the wild type. Original one, wild type one, was first developed. Now, this tall pea plant, in order to adapt in a particular environment, this tall pea plant, suppose it's problem in adapting in this area, then it is found that if it is dwarf, then only it can survive. And that's why the allele for tallness gets mutated. Allele for tallness gets mutated, and hence dwarf pea plants are developed. So this is the wild type mutation, mutant type. As per requirement in a particular habitat, such mutation can take place so that a mutant type allele is formed. Is it clear now? Is it clear to everybody? Because it is very much required to know, because in this chapter it will be discussed again. So why it is wild type, the mutant type, you need to understand this.
স্যার ওয়াইল্ড টাইপ কথাটার মানে কি?
Wild type means which is present from the beginning. Original. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm coming to the next one, most important. What I said earlier, genotype, phenotype completed, dominant recessive completed, homozygous, heterozygous completed. Now next one is the gene pool. What is actually the meaning of this term gene pool? Total number of genes and their alleles. Present in a interbreeding population. Then you can use the term gene pool. Total number of genes present in the population of pea plant, Pisum sativum. Total number of genes present in the population of, suppose, human is gene pool. So in a population means the number of individuals under a particular species. This is called population. So in gene pool, it refers to total number of genes and their alleles present in an interbreeding population. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Now can I wrap it out?
জিন পুলটা মুছুন একটু।
No. Applied set of chromosome or genome refers to haploid set of chromosome. Just 1 minute, please. It is blurring. Total number of genes present in a haploid set of chromosome. Now I am going to draw a diagram. Hello. 8টা থেকে 10টা অবধি করো, 8টা থেকে 10:30 অবধি করো। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ। Oh. Oh, that's. না না সকালে কোনো ব্যাগ নেই সকালে কোনো ব্যাগ নেই আমার একটা মানে একদম ফ্রি করে পুরো কাজ করে যেটা ফোন করে করতে হবে কাছে সাইডে Haploid set of okay, 12 numbers is present in a haploid set of chromosomes. Now you see now tell me in the diagram A, diagram B. In diagram A, how many genomes are there? Huh? Ball, Ankon?
Three.
Three.
There.
Okay. In diagram B, look one thing.
The
Taking,
diagram is 0.
zero, I said. Look, taking one chromosome of each type together, taking one chromosome of each type together, one genome is found. When every type of chromosome is found in pair, then it indicates, then it is a diploid set. There is 2N, there is two genomes. So you see now, when every type of chromosome is found in pair, genome is not dependent on how many types of chromosomes are present. Suppose in our cell, 23 types of chromosomes are found. Whether our genome is 23? No. It is not that how many types, genome doesn't mean that how many types of chromosomes are found. It means whether each type of chromosome is found in pair or one representative of each type of chromosome is found. If each type of chromosome is found in pair, then you can call it diploid set and there are two genomes here. Hello. Namaskar. একটু পরে ফোনটা আমি ক্লাসে আছি অলরেডি ক্লাস করতেছি আধ ঘন্টা পরে করুন হাফ এন আওয়ার পরে করুন হাফ এন আওয়ার পরে ফোনটা আধ ঘন্টা পরে আর কি জাস্ট আধ ঘন্টা পরে So when every type of chromosome is found in pair, then it is called a diploid set. So it is not 3 genomes. The number of genomes 2. So you can call it number of genomes 2. Because why? Because each type is found in pair. Here, number of genome is 1. Why 1? Because each type of chromosomes are taking together to form the genome. Are you getting me? Is it clear? Ankon. Is it clear then? Is it clear now? What is genome? So I'm going to draw another 2 diagrams. And look at this. This is one diagram. So your diagram C and diagram D.
So C তে number of genome হচ্ছে 3 আর D তে 4.
D তে 4. Very good. Now go to another diagram. So there are 2 diagrams again, E and F. Can you tell me the number of genomes in both?
স্যার ই এর জন্য এটা 2 number of genomes আর এফ এর জন্য এটা 1.
Look one thing, again I am telling you. Number of genomes can only be increased if the number increases in every pair. Again, number of genome can only be decreased if the number decreases in every pair. Are you getting me? Number of genome can only be increased if it is increased in every pair. Similarly, number of genomes can only be decreased if it is decreased in every pair. Now you see in diagram E, number of genome, the number of chromosomes remains same in all, except in one pair, 1 chromosome is found extra. Here, only in one pair, 1 chromosome is found missing, but every pair is not affected. And I'm telling you, in order to increase the number of genome like this, the increase should be in every pair. The increase should be in every pair. Then you can say, you can call it triploid. number of genome 3, tetraploid, number of genome 4. Clear? But here it is 2n plus 1, 2n minus 1. So diploid, both are diploid, but one chromosome extra, that's why 2n plus 1. It is one chromosome is missing, that's why it is 2n minus 1. Similarly, if it appear like this also, here in 2 pairs, one chromosome is found extra, so it is 2n plus 1 plus 1. But if somehow it appears like this, one chromosome is found completely missing. One pair of chromosome is found completely missing, then you can call it 2n minus 2. Till it is diploid. Now the idea of genome is clear, or you have some problem? Tell me. Idea of genome is clear or not? Tell me just. Look at this diagram, then you will get it. Whenever you call a single genome, whenever it is 2 genome, whenever it is 3 genome or 4 genome, and what will happen when we consider it like this, that one chromosome is found extra, one chromosome is found missing, then what we will say in this case?
আচ্ছা স্যার, কিছুক্ষণ আগে যে বলেছিলে নাম্বার অফ জিনোমস ক্যান অনলি বি ইনক্রিজড ইফ, এরপরে কি জানি বলেছিলে?
Number of genome, in order to increase the number of genome, the number of chromosome is required to be increased in every type. Suppose black type, blue type, green, red type, in every type there is increase in the number of genome. Clear? Okay?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Any idea? Any doubt? No. Can I wrap it out completely?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross. all are monohybrid crosses. So how can you define what is monohybrid cross? The cross between two organisms of a species in order to study the inheritance of which is made to study the inheritance of one pair of contrasting traits allele is called monohybrid cross. Between two organism species which is made to study the inheritance of a single pair of alleles is called monohybrid cross. That's why the single pair means capital T and small t. Involved. Capital T and small t. But when the term comes dihybrid cross, cross between two organisms is cross between of a species which is made to study the inheritance of two pairs of alleles. It is two pairs of alleles or two genes is called dihybrid cross. Clear now? Y and Y, R and R. One pair is one pair. In these are two pairs. Clear? Okay. So this is what about the basic of the monohybrid cross and dihybrid. Then we will start with the monohybrid cross. I will start it in my next class. Is it clear to this? Tell me.
Clear, sir.
It's fine. अच्छा आज के हमें 6 दिए हैं ओके
Okay, sir.
थैंक यू वेरी मच